So, hi guys, welcome back to Sentimental Value Podcast Season 2. You are now tuned in to your host, Sincerely Cedrinna. And for those who were ever honored and blessed enough to come behind the scenes of Season 1, you know that I always start with a prayer, and I normally do it before we go live, but Season 2 is in desperate need, right? Personally and professionally, of transparency, full transparency. So let's take this time to pray. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, I come to you today thanking you for what you're doing right now, thanking you for the things that I like and I don't like, thanking you for the things that I understand and don't understand. Lord, I thank you for what you've done, the things that I agree with and the things that I don't. And I thank you in advance for the things that are yet to come, things that I know of and things that I don't. I ask that you continue to cover me and everyone connected to me. I ask that you show up, less of me, more of you. You show yourself mighty in Season 2. I ask that you blow our minds, God. I ask that you move and move mighty in only the way in which you can. I ask that you allow yourself to be seen and heard. You help your people and you help me. In your name we pray. Amen. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Sentimental Value. Again, you are now tuned in to your host, Sincerely Cedrinna. For those that don't know me, I am your host. I am the lady of the hour. Okay, not the lady of the night, but the lady of the hour. And you are now tuned in to my podcast, my baby, my everything. For those who have patiently waited for Season 2, I thank you, right? Patience is a virtue, and patience is something that I am still learning to practice myself, and also persevering through the patience, right? We can come very impatient in the hallway and we get so focused on doors that we want to open and doors that we didn't want to close. And we need to learn how to become patient in the hallway, and it helps us have a division of what has already happened and what is about to happen. Because if you did not know, what is happening right now is all that we have, which is the topic of tonight's episode, which is on the power of now. If you haven't read the book by Eckhart Tolle, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. My name is Cedrinna Humphries. People butcher my name all the time. However, I'm learning to disconnect from the label and going deeper into what it actually is. So again, The Power of Now is a guide to spiritual enlightenment. Okay. It is by Eckhart Tolle, and it is quoted as one of the best books to come along in years. Every sentence rings the truth and power. And that is quoted by Deepak Chopra, the author of the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. So if you checked out the prior episode that went viral for 48 Laws of Power, shout out to TikTok. And if you haven't noticed, I kind of brought it back with this hairstyle. The video that is now at 1.1 million views, might I say, on Instagram, which was on the purpose of passion and profit. I had this hairstyle. So, when you like how something happened, you kind of try to reinvent it under those same circumstances. So that is why I'm here done up like this and focusing on the present, because the present is essentially all that we have. So if you've already read this book, I want you to hear my interpretation of it, right? Because just like a good movie, the more that you see it, right, the more you engage and you watch it, you listen to it, you see it, you learn more, right? And perspectives are so important, especially within podcasts, right? So I noticed what was very successful in Season 1 is me being open and honest with my perspective. But in Season 2, we're going to tap more into perception, right? And those are not always mutually exclusive. So I always start off with a quote, and we're going to quote directly from the author. He is quoted as saying, "Realize deeply that the present moment is all that you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life." Okay. A second quote by him is, "The past has no power over the present moment." I repeat, the past has absolutely no power over the present moment. If it does, guess who gave it the power? You. So in tonight's episode, we're going to deep dive into repurposing and reprogramming your mind, right? Because contrary to what you believe, you are not your thoughts. Okay, you are not everything that you think. A lot of your thoughts are not even yours. Okay, and unfortunately, in this state of the world, a lot of our thoughts are not of God. And thank God that they aren't, right? His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. So I'm going to show you a different way of not only digesting this piece of literature, but also just digesting and dissecting your life. We look to books and music and content and programming. We look at that as a way for us to not only subconsciously condition ourselves, but sometimes we consciously and not even in the right way, try to program ourselves in a way that is not fitting to who we truly are. And who we are is who we are in the moment, in this very second, on the very minute, in the very hour, okay? So first things first, we're going to deep dive into some of my favorite topics within the book. You always know I like to highlight certain chapters, but I'm not going to give you everything because reading is fundamental and you have to do it for yourself. But the first chapter I want to start with is the first chapter, which is You Are Not Your Mind. You are not your mind, okay? You are not your thoughts. Thoughts are very powerful. However, it's a tool that will either help you or hinder you. So let's take the moment to observe our thoughts. What are you thinking right now? If you're watching this, right, which I really feel like sometimes a visual representation robs you of your thought, because then you're trying to focus on what you externally see and then what you internally feel. So shout out to all of my audio listeners. If you are someone who really isn't into YouTube or you're always on the go, you can always listen to Sentimental Value Podcast on all audio platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. But back to the topic. What are you thinking about right now? As you are looking at this, I need you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. And if you are listening to this, especially if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about the day that you had? If you're someone that listens to podcasts at the top of the morning like me, are you already anticipating your day? All right. Are you judging yourself, others, me? Are you comparing? Are you in a place of worry? Are you replaying an old situation, or are you repurposing an old situation to kind of push towards the future? What exactly are your thoughts right now? Okay. What you need to realize is the thought has no meaning. When you focus on the thought, right, and you put an action behind the thought, that's what creates the meaning. And is the meaning something meaningful, right? Today, right now, is your driving core. Okay. If in the thoughts that you are thinking right now, if it is in the past, you are not in the right spot. If your thoughts are too much into the future, you are not in the right place. The correct place for you to be right now is in the present moment. Okay. Life has its ups and downs. Okay. And we're going to get into a few things in season 2, because I want you guys to realize I am no better than you. I might be worse. I am no better than you. And I really do these episodes selfishly for myself, but selflessly for you. I always tell people, when they say, oh, when I tell people I have a podcast, and they always ask, oh, are you one of those people that are just on your podcast talking about you or talking about crazy stuff? And yes, we live in an era right now where a lot of people do podcasts about themselves and they want to reveal more of themselves to you. But I always say that this podcast, my podcast, SVP, Sentimental Value, is for you to reveal more of you to you. So what you have to realize about the power of now is, if you don't stay in today, if you don't focus on what is happening right now, you will notice that everything that's from the past is what's keeping you depressed. And everything that you're anticipating in the future is creating your anxiety. Let me repeat that one more time. Your past It's the equivalent of why you're depressed. You're repurposing and replaying old situations that you have not hashed out. Unresolved trauma. We'll get more into that later in the episode. If you're anxious all the time, worrying about situations that may or may not even come, that is where your anxiety lies. You're too much into the future. You have to realize that your trauma is only held within two places, and it's never the present. Okay? Your trauma doesn't care about yesterday, and it really doesn't care about tomorrow. Okay? So what you have to realize is that unresolved trauma that you don't hash out, that you don't deal with yourself, your past self, your old self, your shadow self, because we're going to cover a lot more about that in season 2 as well. Me personally, I was someone when I first kind of awakened, right? And I think it's two stages of coming into full consciousness is you kind of awakening, right? And seeing like, oh, what is going on? And then the enlightenment, like you actually acknowledging what is going on with your trauma. What happens is, especially with past trauma that you haven't dealt with, the divorce, right? The abuse, the neglect, or whatever it may be, right? It puts you in a state of not being able to stay where you currently are. You can't focus on today because you're still thinking about what happened to you last week. That was unfair. You're still thinking about what happened to you a month ago that you still can't wrap your head around. What took place years ago, which is said and done. But you would rather live there than to be here. And that's not the way of life at all. Another honorable mention for a chapter is consciousness, which is the way out of pain. Pain is going to happen, okay? But pain is not where you stay. It is not where you reside. It's not where you set up shop, okay? And I know a lot of people are so like bound to their pain because it gives them a false sense of identity and it robs you of your consciousness. Your consciousness says, okay, I can observe that this happened, but I don't have to accept it. When you live there, when you wallow and feel like woe is me, that's not you simply observing. That's you accepting. That's you engaging in it. Woe is not you. I always say that woe isn't me. Wow is me. Woe is not me. What happens to you, the pain is going to happen. It's what you do with the pain. It's your higher level of consciousness that says, okay, I'm present right now. This was painful yesterday, right? But anyone that knows true pain has a purpose behind it all the time. The pressure that you feel is going to create a diamond. I don't know about you, but if you're watching the visual, you can see I got a few pieces on. I love a good piece of jewelry, but not just for the sight of it, because of the authenticity behind of it. I care about not just looking like it's a piece of jewelry. I want it to really essentially be a good piece of jewelry. I want the cut and the clarity and the carat and the color to be crystal clear. And that can only happen in the making of a diamond by that pressure, right? So when you focus on, I can't wait until, I hope that, I wish this had happened. Oh, what will happen if this happened? Or what would have happened when this didn't happen? Again, you're not in a conscious state. That's your subconscious running a tape. Running the same old raggedy, dusty tape, side A and side B. Shout out to all of the people that remember cassettes. That's what it's doing. That's what it's doing. And even to take it further, some of you who feel like, oh, I'm not a cassette, you're a CD that has a lot of scratches and you're still trying to play it. You're still trying to play it because you don't know how to let it go. So when you focus on, right, and commit, see, because you have to commit to a level of consciousness. And that's something that I'm learning, right? It was a journey. Okay. Every day is a journey, but it was a journey doing this entire podcast. It's still a journey that every day I wake up and I choose to focus on today. I can't focus on the past episode that did or didn't do good, the next episode that maybe will or will not do good. All I can focus on is being great right now. I don't care about what wasn't good then and what could be good later. I have to focus on being great right now. Another chapter is the state of presence. Okay. So now we're going to get a little, really into it. Let's focus on our breath work. Let's focus on being still and simply being. So, right now, we're going to take a moment of silence, right? And we're just going to focus on breathing. I need everyone, and I know you're going to feel silly right now if this is your first time doing it. If you're someone who is already indulged in these type of things, you're ready. You're ready, and you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I am 32 years old, and I just learned how to breathe correctly. I just learned how to breathe correctly because as a human, especially in today's time, you feel like a fish out of water. When do you have time to breathe? You have to worry about your family and your friends and your intimate partner and your place of work and and where you live and different things and your mind, your body, and your soul. You really don't take the time to breathe. So we're gonna take 3 deep breaths. My producer is somewhere in the studio, so he's gonna breathe with us as well. So we're gonna inhale and we're gonna exhale 3 times starting now. 1, 2, and 3. How does that feel? How does that feel? Were you breathing? You were? Okay. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. But I can feel it. Take that time to just breathe and just to be. Like I said, I'm just now learning how to breathe. And believe it or not, I'm a singer. I'm a singer who has been formally trained in concert choir. I grew up in the church, and it's so weird to me when I even listen to my way of performing and singing now versus then, right? So my favorite song, which is so on topic with today's episode, is I Won't Complain, right? You could complain. You probably want to complain, but you just simply won't. And you shouldn't even want to, right? At the end of the day, you have to realize that even what you think is a complaint, even what you think is of bad, is really meant for your good. What you're complaining about is connected to what you would be running to tell everyone about, what you would be so happy to tell someone about, right? Because we're so secretive, especially as humans, when we're embarrassed too. Let's start there. A lot of us are embarrassed by our presence. So that's why when you meet people or you know people who are people that, oh, I used to be, oh, I used to do this, oh, I used to have this, because they can't deal with the present. When you meet people, and I'm not talking about people who are gifted in prophetic, visions. I'm talking about people that are really like, well, man, when I get on, when I do this, man, just wait, just wait, just wait. No, why wait? If not now, then when? If not who? If not you, then who? Like, sincerely, like, you really have to focus on being still, being present, and that will help you get through whatever is going on right now. See, a lot of people deflect and they defer and they do different things, whether that's to go back in the past or to go too forward into the future, because they don't want to deal with what is going on right now. Next chapter, your inner body. Your emotion is a clear indicator of what is going on the inside. Your emotions, your bodily reaction is always going to tell where your mind is, where your mind is. So you have to get a level of mindfulness and self-inquiry that is unapologetic, right? When you're around people, and that starts even with yourself. Because people love to say, oh, when I get around someone and I just don't like their spirit or something don't sit right, I have to get away from them. A lot of people are getting away from themselves. That's why a lot of people can't be still. I can't even listen to music right now. Transparency moment. I don't want to look at a TV. I just, got back on social media. And even then, I'm very careful of what I consume. And I don't even just mean dietary, even though that's changing as well. Certain things that I used to find comforting as far as like food and indulgence, I can't do it anymore. Certain music I can't listen to anymore. Literally, the ear is ringing. like I can't. A lot of people can't sit with themselves, be in their present moment, because they are the person that makes them feel uneasy. See, it's easy to blame it on someone else and say, oh, that person gives me an eerie feeling. No, you're the eerie feeling. And that's why you want to consume particular content. That's why you want to listen to things. It's almost like you want background music running because you cannot deal with the present. And when you have to sit within your inner body, that's why when a lot of people get alone, they lose their minds. I'm at a point now, I feel like I'm losing my mind with people. I find my mind, I find myself with myself by being still and being present and doing that self-inquiry and realizing when I sit with my thoughts, right, and simply observe them. That's mentioned in the book, like be a self-observer, of your thoughts. So just sit and just watch where your mind goes. Watch and don't judge it. Right. But just watch where it goes. And I guarantee you, you'll start connecting the dots. Right. So now I don't want to listen to certain things. I don't want to see certain people. I don't want to be in certain places because it goes against all of the inner work, all of my enlightenment, my consciousness, my mindfulness. It's going against that. And if you are feeling the same way, I need you to take a hold to that and ownership of that and unapologetically continue to do the work. Do the work. Again, to work is the present time. If you don't go into your job and clock in on that system and do that work in real time, they're not going to pay you. They don't care about the past shifts that you've worked. They don't care about the future bonus that you can get. They care about you showing up in the present time for them in that day. So why wouldn't you do it for you? Let's have a real conversation. like why wouldn't you do that for you? It's way easier for us to do things when other people make us do them. You should have your own want and desire for self, right? Especially if you are someone that's extroverted and loves to show up for other people. How are you pouring from an empty glass? Your mind is empty, or your mind is chaotic and confused with all of these thoughts, and then you run some other place, right? And you indulge in something and someone, and then you wonder why it's packing a mess on top of a mess, because you're not dealing with your mess, which goes into the next chapter, which is enlightened relationships. Now, let's just take enlightenment out of it and let's focus on relationships. A lot of people are in relationships, right? And relationships are three different things, right? Family, friendship, intimate, right? And I use those as umbrellas because really the first and foremost, most important relationship is the one with self. And the relationship with self will be a clear indicator, right, within your relationships with other people. So you should be family and blood bound to yourself first. And if you aren't, that's why you can't show up for your family. Or you don't understand when family attempts to show up for you, what that is. You're not a friend, a platonic friend, a kind friend, a devoted friend to yourself. And that's why you don't have good friendships. That's why you can't attract a good friend. That's why you can't keep a good friend. No shade, no tea. Intimacy. Intimacy is not an external thing with another person and another body. It starts with you as a person and within your body. A lot of people don't have the proper intimacy with self. It's not even about the extremity of sexual intercourse and different things. I'm talking about real intimacy, real connectivity, a level of you being in a space where you feel safe. A lot of people don't know safety. That's my favorite thing to tell people. And I'm not talking about my family, friends, and intimate partners. I'm talking about a clear stranger. I don't care where I meet you, personally or professionally. I tell people all the time, this is a safe space. You are in a safe space. Because if you follow me on Instagram, Okay. You're getting a little, in-depth story. And if you don't, you're hearing it here first. I recently came back from a vacation where I was unfortunately roofied and drugged. And then someone attempted to extort me out of money. Okay. Now, connecting it back to the power of now, right? That's a trauma. That is a trauma. But I tell people all the time, and they think I'm joking, but I'm so serious when they say, "Oh, I just love how communicative you are, and how connected you are with people." It's because I'm traumatized. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. Like, even in my 20s, people thought I was in my 30s. And aging, not just in the physical sense, but aging with life and experiences, gives you a different type of wisdom that only comes when you have really gone through some things, right? And the blessing of going through things, contrary to people feeling like it's a burden, is it properly prepares you. Right. So that was a very scary situation that I went through. But I meant even what I told the man that did that to me. If I haven't died in Chicago, I wasn't dying in Mexico. And I mean that. And God wants us to have life more abundantly. You shall live and you will not die. Sincerely. Right? You will live, and you will live life the way in which you want to live life. But you have to be in the present moment, and you have to deal with those traumas. You have to resolve them. You have to solve them. You have to literally get so committed to being like a solution specialist to your problems, where a problem doesn't even look like a problem anymore. A problem is simply an opportunity. And it looks like a problem when you don't have a plan, when you don't know your purpose, right? So even though my body, right, my emotional state was very shooken, like, by that whole situation, right, to the point where the enemy tried to rob my joy of travel from me, when I know my gift and my purpose is in touching the masses and going to different places that I have never been, and bringing different things to places that they have never seen and they have never heard. But I had to deal with that trauma. Anyone that knows that situation, I've been praying for myself and asking others that really are connected, right? Pray, Pray, because everyone that prays for you is not really praying for you, they're praying on you. I ask for those that really care about me to pray for my peace and pray that I get my personality back. Because ultimately, that whole situation left me like, I went to a certain place to get away and to get a sabbatical and to reconnect, and I was robbed of my safety, right? But even in the scariest place, you can create your own sense of safety. I've even had to challenge myself and realize that I'm not good when the situation is good. I'm great when the situation is not. It's about rising above, right? And having particular relationships, right, that may or may not be enlightened is going to be very clear on if you stay in the present or if you go back to your past that keeps you depressed, or you focus too much on the future and you worry and you anticipate things that you don't even really know if you truly want. A lot of people are in relationships based on who they once were or who that person used to be. A lot of people are in relationships or get into relationships based on who they want to be or who they think someone will be. Wrong. And that's why it never lasts. That's why it will never be. And if it is, right, it isn't of good. And I always say we don't want good. We want great. So can you handle today? Can you handle your family member? That starts with your parents. That starts sometimes with your own kid. Starts with your sibling. Can you handle this person? Can you handle this friend? Do you have the capacity to handle them? Can you handle this partner anymore? Then X them out. Can they handle you? Can you handle you? Can you handle who you are right now, not who you used to be? A lot of people don't want to let go of who they used to be because it allows them to keep that victim mentality. It allows them to keep rehashing and replaying that same story. A lot of people are really in relationships more focused on the potential of people. And we all know that when you get into relationships or you base a relationship on what could be, you'll never see it. It'll be a woulda, coulda, shoulda, which leads me to the last chapter that I absolutely love. And I think it is the last chapter of the book, actually. It is. The meaning of surrender. The meanings of surrender. Put your hands up, put your palms out. You have to let it go. And when I say it could be a person, it could be a situation. Again, it could be your old self. It could be the person that you want to be or you feel like you should be and someone told you that you're going to be. You have to surrender. You have to submit. Okay? If you lost the job, you lost the job. And I can speak to you honestly from that because I've lost the job. You lost the job. You crashed the car. The car was stolen. You're not living in a certain place anymore. You don't have a specific person in your life. Surrender to it. Let it go. You are not what happened to you. You aren't what happened to you, and you are not what will happen. You just are what you are in this very moment. And when you surrender to that, when you just sit still and just say, I am who I am, right? I am not who I used to be, and who I shall be, I don't know. You have to surrender. And again, I believe in God. I don't know what you believe in. Hopefully you believe in something bigger than yourself, because it's going to take that. You have to surrender. You have to surrender. It is very hard for me to wrap my head around doing even this. This is a point of surrender for me. People that truly know me knows that this is me surrendering, letting go, right? Asking God to have mercy and grace on me trying to figure it out, right? And then him asking to heal my heart, right? And renew my mind to understand, like, my ego has no place here. And that's why you have to surrender. See, the difference between a peaceful person and someone who is not peaceful, I guarantee you the person that's in the middle of that is your ego. Your ego wants to hold on to what happened because it gives it a sense of survival. Your ego wants to hold on to, what you want to happen or what you think is supposed to happen. And then that's what robs you of your peace. Each and every time. Each and every time. The only thing that matters is right now. Not then, not later, not before, not after. It's just right now. And when you surrender to right now, who you are right now, that's how you can correct certain things. See, when you don't surrender to it, when you don't want to acknowledge it, when you don't want to decree and declare it, when you don't want to speak it out loud and say, you know what, I am a little lazy. You know what? I am a little bit negative and pessimistic. You know what? I don't have the best outlook on life. You know what? I'm not kind right now. It's surrendering to that. And that allows you a safe space for you to make sense of what is going on right now. And then what happens, right? Because like the book says, the only thing that we have is right now. The past, it was the right now a while ago. And the future is the right now that is yet to come. Right now is all you have. And I know that's scary. That's scary because even when people attempt to meditate, who's never done that before or mastered that, it's hard to sit there because, again, your mind goes somewhere. And then because you hold on to every waking thought that you have that isn't even real, then your body has this knee-jerk reaction. And then that's why when people sit and they meditate, they cry, they release. Even your breathing pattern changes. Some people tremble. Some people just pay attention to the body. A lot of people don't want to pay attention to the body. We live in such a vain world where people focus on the external vessel and what it looks like and what it feels like externally, but they don't never turn it back around and really pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your posture. Pay attention to how you fidget. Pay attention to certain things that you just involuntarily do, because it's a clear indicator of something going on internally each and every time. So, what is Afro Health? It's basically your health, our multivitamins combined to give a better you. But as we know, one size does not fit all. Men have different nutritional needs, and women and melanated people have diverse needs to those who are not. 76% of melanated people living north of the equator are vitamin D deficient. So at Afro Health, we created BE100 multivitamins, which added vitamin D to tackle that deficiency. Our all-in-one formula was put together to help cover the nutritional day-to-day needs of melanated millennials. And guess what? Afro Health multivitamins are vegan, GMO, and preservative-free and made in the UK. It's simple. Take Afro Health multivitamins daily with water and drink. We want you to be 100%. Your health is wealth. Afro Health. All right, guys. So I just had to cry off camera. We will never show me. We will never. Well, never say never, right? And it's so weird. I was telling someone, in season 1, I was like, I just never want to cry on camera. I never want to cry on camera. And sincerely, like, God will show up, won't he? The power of now, being in the present moment. Life is hard. Like life is hard. And thank God that it is. Right. Going back to the analogy of diamonds and pressure and purpose. And when I tell you to be present in this moment, is to realize, like, even in the midst of your past, despite all of it, even whether the future will hold what you want, right? Or, they always say either it's going to hold or it's going to fold. My presence is simply my present, right? Like, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, please know that today is just that. It's a day. It's a day. It's a day. Regardless of if you want to label it as good or not so good. Maybe it was better than yesterday. Maybe tomorrow will be even better. But today is just that. It's just a day. It's just a day that you chose to watch Sentimental Value. Today is a day that you chose to listen to a topic on the power of now. But to kind of pivot a little bit, the power of now is the power of you. And who you are in the present moment. Whether you like it, whether you don't, whether you understand it, whether you don't, whether you really feel like it's the end all be all, or even if it is not. The present is simply the present moment. And I pray for your peace. I pray for your perseverance. I pray that whatever it is that you come to my page, to my profile, to ingest, right, and indulge in my content, I pray that you come out of it better than what you go in. I pray that it allows you to let go of everything that is behind you, right? Because if it's behind you, it does not matter, right? And what is in front of you is what you can see. Now, what you try to squint and try to go yonder and over, I'm talking about just what is right in front of you. And for me, speaking personally, I'm in front of me right now. I'm in front of you. You may think I'm in front of you right now, but I am literally and figuratively in front of me. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and guess what? I will win. I will win the war. Even if I lose a few battles, even if I'm hurt, harmed, I will always prevail, and so will you. Because if we are true mirrors and reflections of each other, I know what I'm built of. I know what I'm made of. I know how I'm built. I know how I'm coming. I know where I'm going. I know where I am. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know why I am. And so should you. So do you. But you have to get to a level of being so uncomfortable with what is uncomfortable that it creates and it curates some level of curiosity, which will produce a level of creativity. See, we are here as humans to create. To create. And a lot of us want to consume what someone else created, and it robs us of our own inner creation, our own creativity. I can sit down and I can watch and listen to a million podcasts, people that I agree with, people that I don't agree with, people that I like, people that I don't like. But guess what? Every day, I'm not going to like me. Every day, you're not going to like you. Every day, you're not going to agree with you. Every day, someone else isn't going to like you and someone else isn't going to agree with you. But it's how you feel and how you feel at the present moment. Again, do not rob yourself of the gift of now, of the gift of you. You are a gift. You are not a burden. You are not a problem. You are not a situation. You are not a circumstance. You are you. You are great. You are good. Please affirm yourself, right? When you do that breath work and you're able to breathe in more positivity and exhale the negativity, please understand that you are who you are, and who you are is good enough. You are enough. You are enough. Whether you realize it or others, you are enough, because we're made in his image. Like we serve a God that wants us to operate in a level of excellence that aligns with him. And that's what we have to remember. We want to give the devil too much credit. Oh, the devil is busy. God is busier. And that's why you must stay busy as well, but not aimlessly busy, right? It's never about the speed. It's always the direction. Where are you going? Where are you going? Not what time you want to arrive and who's coming with you. Where are you going? Where do you want to go? Where are you right now in this present moment? And I don't mean at your job, at school, in the car, in your office. No, where are you right now? With your head, with your heart. Where are you? Where are you? If you aren't somewhere where you want to be, acknowledge where you are, right? And I promise you, the acknowledgement of that will enlighten you to be like, no, and one day at a time. I say that all the time. One day at a time. And that's why I won't complain. I won't complain. Because at the end of the day, it was just that. It's a day. And when it ends, guess what? A new one begins. And the newness of the next day lies the opportunity. And again, the problem of the present, if you have a present problem, right? It's not even, don't worry about how you going to solve it. Don't worry about the last problem you solved. Just address it, observe it, acknowledge it, right? But you don't have to indulge and you don't have to engage. And it starts with self. Protect your peace. Protect your plan right now. You know, if you're in a season of isolation, because I'm speaking, even to myself, your separation right now is so required for your elevation. Right now, you can't be everywhere. And you can't be with this person, and you can't hear what happened over there, and you can't go see about what happened with this situation and trying to help somebody with their next situation. You have to just be still. You have to chill out. What they say, take a chill pill. You need to take a chill pill. You need to really assess yourself, take your vitals. When you go to the doctor, and most people are reactive and not proactive. So a lot of people go to the doctor when something is wrong, right? And most of the time, when you go after something has already went wrong and went left, the sense of urgency changes. Your sense of urgency with yourself needs to change. And urgency deals with the now. The urgency can't worry about the later and the thing. The urgency deals with now. You need to have a state of emergency for yourself. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. Life is not a game. And to be in the land of the living is to be in the current state and realize that the revelation of why we're here is so contingent on what we do when we're here. You know that I just went to go see the Beyonce concert. Shout out to the Beehive. And I love to go see Beyonce live because it's really a inspiration thing, right? To see someone put so much dedication into their career and similar to an athlete, right? Yesterday's points don't count for today's game. Right. And you're only as good if you work in sales, you know, this, like, you're only as good as your last sale. Like, people care about what are you doing right now. She has really mastered her ability to show up regardless of the times, regardless of the era. She's now creating timeless moments in timeless eras. That's how you need to treat your life. That's what I look at when they say, oh, what would this person do? Or what? No, what would you do? A lot of people don't know what they would do. That's why you look towards someone else. And it's okay to be motivated and inspired. And believe me, I do this to motivate and inspire you. But again, not for my own ego, not for my own sense of self and pride. And no, I do it to reveal more of you to you. If you are listening to this and you are watching this and you know that you are in a state of emergency based off of unresolved trauma, based off of what has happened in your past, based off of what you anticipate, what will or will not happen, you know that if I don't get this, I'm gonna feel this way, or because I didn't get this, now I feel this way. No, what do you feel right now? That's your real feeling. That's your real feeling. And it's okay to have an empty, not a feeling of emptiness, but when I used to ask people, like, what are you thinking about? And they would say, like, nothing. And mind you, these are peaceful people. These are conscious people. These are people that practice meditation. So when I'm asking them and inquiring, like, what are you thinking about? Thinking that they're having some profound thought. No, the profound thought is that there is no thought. Like, there's a sense of just stillness and just being and just feeling in that very moment. They aren't thinking at all. And the book even discusses that. That's okay. That's okay. You can be still and nothing can be happening. And guess what? When nothing is happening, it's a lot going on. It's a lot that's happening. I tell people all the time, especially those that find it hard to relax, that find it hard to rest. Resting is some of the hardest form of doing. Resting is a form of doing, the most difficult form of doing, because as humans, we're so programmed to be on the go, to do this and to do that, because we're scared about what happened before and then we don't know what's happening next. No, just chill, like just chill and just sit down and focus on yourself. That's why it's very important to journal, right? I'm not a big written rhetoric person. I'm a big verbal communicator, so I do a lot of voice notes. What did Kanye say? Geniuses talk to themselves. Have a conversation with yourself for today. For today. When you turn this off, before you go on to the next task, before you go into work, you go to class, you make that phone call, you go cook the meal, you go walk the dog, you do whatever duty and responsibility that life and the human way of living has conditioned us to do. Chill out, stop, pause, simply just be, and don't think about what I said and what I've done. No, think about just right now. Think. And when I say think, I mean, you're naturally going to do that involuntarily, but observe the thought and then let it go. L-I-G it. Let it go. And on that note, that is all I have for the inaugural episode of season 2. Again, I thank you guys so much for being so patient with me. You know, another caveat, One, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? Be careful what you ask for and what you embark on, because it will, too much is given, much is required, right? It takes a certain level of persistence and dedication and sacrifice, but also realizing deeper than that, outside of everything that's going on in life, count it all joy. Count it all joy. Please count it all joy. Please realize that it's not as bad as it seems. Someone has it way worse, and whether they realize it or not, right? And everything is different everywhere. I always say different strokes for different folks. And also just realize that if you are seeking, especially podcasts, content, different things like that, if you're seeking it for something other than your own self discovery and improvement, I need you to go back to the drawing board. Again, go back to the drawing board. You have to realize that everything that is going on, it has a reason. And when you're stuck in certain seasons that don't feel good, right? You have to realize you have to go through it. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You're not going to go over it. You have to go straight through it. And you're going to get through it. Like, sincerely, you're going to get through it. You are okay. You are safe. You are okay. And guess what? If you aren't okay, it's okay not being okay. But let's focus there. It's okay with not being okay. And I wish you nothing but blessings and prosperity, hope and perseverance. And I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Like I said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I was praying that my podcast would go viral, and right when it did, I choked. I got choked. But guess what? I'm back at it. I'm back at it. And not for the numeric value of going viral, but the behavioral value of me staying persistent and consistent in my calling and ultimately in my dream. If you follow me on Instagram at Sincerely Cedrinna, please be sure that you go and follow Sentimental Value Pod, okay? My SVP family, especially on TikTok. TikTok, I know that's where it all started to catch traction. I am going to be back and even better than ever. Please interact. If you have ideas, if you have questions, I have some really cool stuff coming up for this season. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or emotional outbursts, my favorite, because we are human, they happen. Please reach out to the email that is in both my TikTok and or my Instagram. Shout out to my YouTube family. Let's please try to get to 1,000 subscribers, and not just because I want to be monetized, but the more money that comes in, the bigger we can go with production. I have some really, really, really good ideas, you guys. And, as a very profound mind once said, if you have an idea and all it takes is you don't have a big enough idea. The ideas are becoming so grandiose in my head and in my heart. It's going to take more than just me and Tom, me and my producer. It's going to take a little bit more than just us. So I am looking for a community to build a team, right? And to just make a difference. So again, I love you guys so, so much. I can never express what it means to me that I mean something to you. And again, I know I always end the episode with what brings me sentimental value, or what has sentimental value right now. And I will definitely say you guys. Not even to sound corny or cheesy, you guys mean so much to me. You keep me going. Outside of my producer staying on my head about my responsibilities, which I adore him for. I also adore you guys just making sure, because I see the DMs and I see the messages that are like, when's the next episode? When are you gonna cover this topic? It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But for right now, it is, and I'm grateful. So please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time.